They say use ProtonGE, and they're not entirely wrong. But why though, when they're supposed to be a perfectly good verification system? Well, first and foremost, it's not perfect. And second off, I've had some very recent concerns with the system. Steam Deck verification is supposed to answer one question. Is this game suitable for Steam Deck? Quite a few games are in fact Steam Deck verified, and they work great on Steam Deck, almost indistinguishable from just playing the games on a console. Almost. Of course, not all games are smooth sailing. Quite a few games on PC don't have full-on controller support, whether it's because they're old or they're part of a genre that's not typically played with a controller. Yes, Steam Input can solve all of this, and if you don't want to make your own controllers, you can download a community configuration. But at the end of the day, it's not the same as just a game having native controller support. There's also a bunch of other little problems, like text being too small to read, or, games not supporting the proper resolution, or having the player set graphics configurations to have the game run well on Steam Deck. Yes, adjusting graphics detail to have games run better, it's just basic PC gaming stuff. But for a consoleized experience, it really isn't that ideal. That's why it's playable instead of, unsupported. Last but certainly not least are games marked as unsupported. Typically, there are two main reasons why a game would be marked as unsupported. First is that the game's anti-cheat doesn't support SteamOS. Some games have anti-cheats like Easy Anti-Cheat or Battlelight, which do work on Linux, but the developers have to flip the switch. And other games have a proprietary anti-cheat system that doesn't work properly on Linux, and for whatever reason, they won't port it over to Linux. I don't know why. And of course, a game can be marked as unsupported because it just does not work. Maybe it crashes somewhere in the game. Maybe the game doesn't work at all. Or maybe a game is playable but has some game-breaking issues, like cutscenes not working or audio not working. But there's been a rise in games that are marked as unsupported for a new third reason. Because a game cannot be configured to run well on Steam Deck. These are games that run incredibly poorly on the Steam Deck's hardware. More often than not, they tend to be newer releases. The three games marked as unsupported for this reason that come to mind are Forspoken, Remnant 2, and Starfield. Now, I know for Starfield there are mods that can make the game run better, but you can't really take into account mods when it comes to the verification system. And of course, there are games without a Steam Deck verification rating. When it comes to these titles, your mileage may vary. Some of these titles may work, and some others may not. This just means Valve hasn't tested the game specifically for Steam Deck support. Plenty of new games get released without Steam Deck verification ratings. Thankfully, the Steam Deck is a big community, and there's plenty of content creators and regular people alike testing out these brand new games to see if they work properly. All of this sounds great on paper, as long as it works. So what is the problem? Well, for starters, verification ratings are not always correct. There are two games I can think of that are marked as unsupported. The first of which is a game called Tales of Berseria. It's marked as unsupported, and yet reports on ProtonDB suggest that the game works out of the box. Literally no tweaking, no configuration, no doing some out of the box type stuff. Just install and play, and it works. Same deal with DBZ Kakarot. It's a game marked as unsupported, yet all the reports on ProtonDB suggest the game just works out of the box just fine. There's a number of other games that are marked as unsupported, yet they work perfectly fine. All of these ratings are outdated, and Valve really should retest the games once more. So yes, unsupported games can sometimes actually be a good experience. Could the opposite be true? Could verified games actually be broken? Well, if this absolutely massive thread has anything to say about it, then yes, it happens more often than you think. There have been some highly publicized controversy in regards to some of these verified games. Remember how I said Remnant 2 was marked as unsupported because of its performance? Well, get this, Remnant 2 was marked as verified before release, and was marked as verified on release. There was a lot of controversy behind this because while the game technically worked, like it ran and you could play it ran horribly, and lowering the graphics down to the lowest settings did improve some stuff, but not enough for it to be, playable on Steam Deck. But of course, a few months later, the game was revised and marked as unsupported. But even more recent reports suggest that the game is actually playable on Steam Deck now. Between all of the optimizations, bug fixes, and the fact that SteamOS 3.5 is available now, maybe it's time to revise this unsupported rating once again. Another game that was marked as verified but was unstable and generally speaking unplayable on Steam Deck was The Last of Us Part 1. The game works fine now, but the game was generally speaking unstable not just on Steam Deck, but on PCs in general. It's been patched a number of times since release, and having watched a couple of gameplay videos of this game on the Steam Deck, it may very well deserve to be considered Steam Deck verified, which has me concerned about the state of Steam Deck verification. Is it just one big marketing ploy? You could very well argue that it's one big marketing ploy. And to be honest, it wouldn't be far from the truth. Yes, I know you're a hardcore Steam Deck user. All you use is ProtonDB as your main source of information. But think about it from the perspective of a casual Steam Deck owner. They have a Steam Deck and they just want to play games, and they see that a game is marked as verified before release, marked as a good experience by Valve on the Steam Deck. And when they play it, it's unstable or it runs like crap. They bought a game that was given Valve's blessing, a game that Valve said would be a good experience on their hardware. And there's a good chance that they might have bought it because it was Steam Deck verified. Isn't that a little messed up? Valve should be more transparent about how they verify Steam Deck verified games. Yes, there is a guideline on their website, but to be honest, the guideline is kind of vague on what is considered acceptable performance, especially considering the number of times games get marked as verified but run like crap. Is it no wonder the hardcore masses have given up on the system entirely? If you like this video, be sure to press the thumbs up button and spread the good gospel of high-tech lowlife. And if you want to see more high-tech lowlife, be sure to subscribe and press the bell icon for notifications. And for you enlightened individuals, be sure to join my Discord server. And if you wish to support high-tech lowlife, be sure to check out our Patreon page. Links in the description down below.